I want to do a quick wrap up of the different blockchains. That way, when people are listening back, then they can have something to reference. So Bitcoin, as Nick talked about, there's no anonymity, there's no privacy, no security. It's not even immutable. And so they have issues with scaling, they have issues with prices. I mean, there's so many issues with Bitcoin that it's that dying dinosaur that you talked about. I love that analogy. And also because of the new mining rigs coming in using quantum computers, sending them off into space, nobody who's here on Earth can even compete with that. So all the mining rigs right now are basically totally worthless. They're junk, which is why you see a lot of articles coming out saying that people are selling their mining rigs or pieces of the mining rig because there's no use for them unless they can get rid of it and cash out. If we talk about algo, well, so I mean, obviously Bitcoin sucks. So if we talk about algo, they have fake decentralization. They are highly secure, but they're super hard to onboard into. It's pretty much for like really, really advanced developers only. It's very expensive. It's controlled by the insiders. So if you are a normal person trying to invest into it, good luck. You'll never have any say-so whatsoever. And you'll never, really be able to develop on that platform because there are too many hoops to hurdle over. So that one's out of the question in terms of onboarding, scalability, mass for the world. When we talk about IOTA, Nick did a great job showing how these are super fast transactions. There's no transaction fees either. And so in terms of use case, it's amazing. It's going to be used for so many things because IoT it's kind of almost a misnomer. It's not just of internet, it's of everything. So it should be EOT instead of IoT. But because of, all of the other things in the background, and he mentioned the 1.1 million just to be a node, again, guys, it's very difficult to be a part of the IOTA network. And so just like with Algorand, you can't really onboard into the system because you have no say-so as a node. So it's fully centralized, not really decentralized. So we're kind of talking about the same things between Algo and IOTA, just different use cases. And now we add Ripple to the pool, and we have lots of hype, lots of insane valuations, lots of fake narratives pushed out by the public, nothing vetted whatsoever. But these people are so noisy, they cause so much commotion that all the valuation is speculative, but it's already been debunked for over a year and a half now. And not only that, but they also have fake decentralization because it's all centralized by the banks. And so XRP totally ran out of steam. Even their ledger is in the process of running out of steam. They're becoming more and more like defunct, also becoming more like Stellar. David Schwartz, the CTO of Ripple, was like, look at Stellar, stop looking at us. Everything that you guys have been hearing about is all fake. Follow Stellar, follow Stellar. And then we have XCC, the great bridge token that combines different blockchains, different on and off chains, different kinds of assets as well. The exchange infrastructure. So they do a lot of tokenization. They do a lot of security, verification, KYC, audits, stuff like that. So like Algo, awesome for security, but again, not really for public use. Pretty much limited to institutions and large enterprise organizations. So, we finally come to the end with Ethereum. Great for building dApps, great for tokenization, but really crappy for dApps and really crappy for tokenization because, again, too expensive, too slow, not scalable, and every time they upgrade, they become just like a slower, crappier version of Stellar. So why we keep reiterating all of this is because if you have been not paying attention to Susanna and Lights at the Round Table or QSI, we did a call with Susanna. Nick and I did a call, or sorry, not a call. It was an in-person event in Florida in April of this year, and we talked extensively about tokenization at that conference. And part of that conference, I also talked about how Stellar is the end-all be-all. And part of what I talked about in that call, so guys, please go and find that replay link because we go into so much detail on it. But with Stellar, sorry, let me start with non-Stellar. With non-Stellar, every other blockchain has a competitor because they're fighting to jockey position for who's going to be top dog. But with Stellar, there's no competition whatsoever because they are the only true decentralized and true open source blockchain, which means if they like what Algo has, they're going to pluck that smart contract out of them and say, we'll just adopt it into Stellar. And if we like what XDC has and IOTA has, they'll do the same thing. That's what Nick was referring to earlier on this call. So everything that they love from all the other blockchains or the other assets, they're going to go, great, let's wrap them into Stellar. Now they're mine. Now I can use them as part of my smart contracts to move on the Stellar ecosystem. And all the stuff that I don't like, the slowness, the expensive factor, the lack of transparency, the lack of security, all those kind of criteria, we don't want that. So we're not bringing that onto Stellar. Let's leave that in the dust. And then, after all the bridges come in and all the assets in the blockchains have come into Stellar, at some point later on, between 2030 and 2040, those bridges will be burned, and all of those native assets will become, like my old XTC coins, lost on the ledger, never to be touched again. So, move it or lose it. Stellar literally is the only one you can have longevity with, because everything else is coming into Stellar.
Well, since we've been going for 4 hours and 20 minutes, this is like a record, Susanna.